Hello friends, my name is Masu. Today we shall discuss about topic the plan schedule management process. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in project management or you are planning to give exam or PMP in near future. So let's start. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my videos can reach to you, and also you can follow me on the Facebook page as well. Friend, plan schedule management is basically a process in the project schedule management knowledge area of the PMBOK guide, project management body of knowledge. Friend, a project management body of knowledge is a book issued by PMI, Project Management Institute, which is a non-profit based organization which is based in USA. And this institute is basically issuing different certificate, especially PMP certificate, and also it defines different industry standards and best practices for project management. So one of the process is plan schedule management. This process is basically a part of planning phase and focuses on establishing the policies, procedures, documentation for planning, developing, managing, execution, and controlling the project schedule. So now what does it mean actually? The schedule means that the every project is temporary and it has a starting and an ending point. So that means it defines the duration of the project, and also it defines that what are the activities involved in the schedule, what are the sequences are there, who is the responsible resource for that activity. So it defines the schedule so that you know that if we are starting a project, so at what time the project will finish. So plan schedule management means that you will plan basically that how you will manage the schedule means time duration of a project. Like schedule is a high word. Basically, how will you manage the different modules which you are going to deliver the time duration. So first thing is that define the project schedule management plan. In this step, basically we identify the scheduling methodology to be used. For example, the critical path method approach or agile approach. So whatever the methodology is suitable for you, for your organization, you can choose it accordingly. Then define the scheduling software tools and techniques to be used. Determine the format and level of detail for the schedule, and establish the criteria for developing the schedule and how it will be updated and controlled. So basically in this process we are defining the approach which we used for project schedule management plan. Next is the uh, defined roles and responsibility. Roles and responsibilities means the persons who are involving in the schedule management, their roles and responsibilities should be properly defined, that clarify who is responsible for creating the schedule, updating it, and ensuring its accuracy. Then a schedule baseline, that means establish the initial project schedule baseline which serves as a reference point for future comparisons. The baseline typically includes key milestones, activities, durations, and resource assignments. So that means when the schedule has been established, it will become a schedule baseline. Baseline, when we talk about baseline, we are talking about measurement of the performance. So whenever we want to measure the performance, we basically use the baseline. That is why it is called as baseline. Okay, bottom line basically. Also we have to define the reporting formats, that in which format we will provide the status reports and how progress will be measured and reported. Also the format and frequency of the scheduled reports, all those things have to be finalized in this section. Next is the establish control threshold. That means define the acceptable level of variations for key project parameters, for example schedule, duration, cost. So for example, that means for example a module has to be completed in 1 month, for example. Then you can have to define, for example, if there is a delay of 5 days or 3 days, for example, which is it will be acceptable for the customer or not. So we have to define the acceptable level of the thresholds in terms of time, cost, duration. Also we have to define the trigger points for taking the corrective actions where actual performance deviates significantly from the baseline. For example, if a project is delaying for more than 1 month, for example, so we have to take the corrective action in that case promptly. For example, a cost is going more than $500. So we have to take the corrective action in that case. So not only we have to define the acceptable level, we have to define the trigger points as well with the customer. This is also very important. Then after that we have to define the change control procedures. That means if there is any deviations, if there are any changes in the project schedule, so how will you handle it? Like we have to define the change request procedure. That means we have to define that the change request forms will be submitted, evaluated and approved, and how they will impact the schedule baselines. Whenever there is a change in the schedule, the impact on the schedule should be evaluated, that how much time is required, how much cost will be required, and how they will impact the schedule baseline. Then a communication plan, that means develop a communication plan for sharing schedule related information with the stakeholders. Identify the frequency, format and recipients with schedule related communication. Communication means that, friend, whatever the changes are coming, whatever the status of the project, we have to communicate it to the customer, not only with the customer, with the internal stakeholders as well, properly. So either you can use any particular format, anything like, for example, you can use the like for example any Word documents, emailing, status reports, etc. So you have to define the plan, that how will you communicate with the customer especially. Then there could be some risk as well. That means that if there are any risk in the schedule, so there must be strategies for mitigating the potential delays and their impacts on the project schedule. So for example, you are ordering some hardware from outside the country. So what will happen if that order become delay? So in that case, what will you do in that case? So all those sorts of risk issues should be properly documented. Not only documented, the mitigation strategy should be there, that in that case, if that risk occur, what you will do. Then obtain the stakeholder approval, like means when the schedule management plan has been finalized, it must have to be reviewed and approved by the stakeholders, especially from the customer, because customer is the main person, not only with the customer, also other stakeholders as well. So address any feedback or concerns raised during the approval process. If there is any discrepancies, if there are any issues and problem in the schedule, it should be have to be properly documented and addressed as well. If there are any assumptions and constraints, it should have to be not only with just identify those assumptions and constraints, it should have to be properly documented, and you must have to know that what is the impact or of the development and execution on the schedule of those assumptions and constraints. Friend, constraints are the limitations of the project. Constraints means the time and cost. For example, time is a constraint, like we must have to complete a project in 5 months. It cannot go beyond the 5 months, so it is a time constraint. Cost is another constraint. That means the project cannot go beyond $5,000 cost, so cost is another constraint. Assumptions mean that the things which we are assuming that it will be true, but in fact there is a possibility that that may happen not as well. So by completing the plan schedule management process, the project team ensures a clear understanding of how the project schedule will be developed, managed and controlled throughout the project life cycle. This upfront planning helps to minimize uncertainties, improve communication and increase the likelihood of successfully meeting project timelines. So friend, thank you. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video.